I have, well,
I'll bring this.
yeah,
Gotcha.
for me, yes.
I mean, measurable outcomes could be anything we want.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
already a requirement for some regular reporting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the deliverable section.
That's what I thought I
So,
might do
seems
by
kind of
next
done.
time, if you want, I'm sorry. The measurements that they suggest indicate quantified demand, number of visitors, expenditures, length of stay, things like that. Measure the impact, contribute to your GDP, your job creation, and I can't remember my writing, assess your environmental impact. I hadn't thought about that, but that's
Mhm.
exactly why the sewer system is going in.
Mhm.
Because we have the nitrogen problem and your social impacts. And I thought, what the heck that is? And they said, we got this stuff, where did I put it? Oh, there's something called a net promoter score. You do surveys, interviews, focus groups, sentiment analysis. How do people, how willing and able and do people in the town tell their friends and other people how nice it is to be here? Is their sentiment pro-town or not?
mhm,
How likely is a resident to recommend their town to others? Is one of those things that they thought was a good thing to do a little survey on.
That
And
probably ends up rolling into the branding work that we're gonna do,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would think.
Mary,
so.
do you have, does the chamber have a Placer AI subscription? License?
Oh, I think she checked out after.
Oh, no, she's,
Oh, she is. There she- Yep. Mary?
The question is,
Does the chamber have Placer AI?
yes, we do.
So that would be a measurable outcome that I would love to see.
yep, and I'm looking at the previous one, and there's a little chart that has a good listing of measurable outcomes as well. For online, targeted, all those different things. So I think we can add some of those in as well. The goal was to hopefully get this to Svetlana to be able to push it for as soon as she can. I don't know when that would be, but if we need to have any further discussions on it, as long as we can get as much of it tonight, or any direction for me or Danielle to go back and like make some edits, then I think we'll be.
We looking for a July 1 start?
September 1, September 1, the RFP has to be issued, yeah,
She can advertise it.
yeah.
I think the only thing I was gonna say is where it says exhibit 1, marketing, visitor services and event coordinator. We've kind of pretty much just gone to marketing, right? With this is where we wanted to go.
Yes, yep, that's from
And
the old
we
one,
may, and the event coordinator, I would just,
that was just
So-
a copy and paste from the last one.
yeah, that's fine. And I serves a social media resource for the TRPF funded special events. I think I'd still like to see some wording that anything that this group could do is like for any of those funded events, whether it's bulk purchasing of advertisement or
Mhm.
that they could work, that part of this is to work.
With those.
With
Right, so
those
they're not putting on the stuff, but they're actually, that it's part of it is to work with, because we're funding both of them, so we want them to all be a big happy family, hopefully.
Mhm.
And I didn't know quite what wording, so it's just thinking something more like that. As well as, maybe that's even under public relations, maybe. Serves as an ambassador to anybody that wants to hold a special event. In Yarmouth to give them some guidance and direction as to that there's funding, that, way to go, so I don't know if we want to add that into there or not, but. I think that's still a good resource for
Mhm.
funneling stuff through that. And then the only thing I saw that it says funding amount of 100,000 has been allocated. Do we want to say that, or do we want to say up to, not to exceed? Do we want to
Yeah,
put
yeah,
anything more specific or even less specific on that?
yeah, I mean, we can certainly put in up to or not to exceed.
Either
Yeah.
one's fine.
Yep.
Turns out there's the same inequality.
Okay,
And then I just had a question
Yeah.
on like the process. So essentially we're putting it out. So people come back and they're gonna give us kind of like a plan, and what the plan's gonna cost to implement. If there's part of the plan that we didn't want, or something even down the road, I know that there were minor modifications, like. There's some sort of new social media thing that
Yeah.
starts 6 months from now. We still have the option to either, I guess to, maybe say, hey, that's not something we want to do out of the plan. And or add something small, nothing major, but. I think all of a sudden, if there's some sort of new TikTok thing. all of a
Yeah,
sudden
that'd be
that
like
comes on,
yeah.
And then,
I think that would serve
think
as
we
like a
need to go
change,
roll
a
with
change
it.
order to the contract. So the way that this will work is that we'll decide on the scope. John Marie and I will give the scope to Svetlana, who's the procurement officer. She will develop the full request for proposals, put it out to bid, receive them back. And then we'll go through them with her assistance, I'm guessing.
Yeah, usually it's like a little 4-person
Yeah.
group.
Yep, and then once we select. The best bid, the best proposal, a contract will be drawn up and then anything after. That would be an amendment or a change order to what's contracted out.
okay, just that there's enough flexibility
Yeah.
to change with the time, to. Change with the times, I guess, really,
Yeah.
because you never
Yeah,
know what,
you truly.
especially
I-
with social media.
you
you never know
never
what's gonna
know.
pop
Don't
tomorrow.
die.
Yeah. Yeah, so awesome. Yeah, those are great comments, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, you might want to, I just had it out with the thrift shop I work in. Why do you want me to put a price on everything that comes in right now,
Mhm.
when we know not gonna sell it until Christmas? And the whole economy might be different by then. And you might wanna lower your prices, and it says I can't lower a price without the steering committee's members.
Oh my gosh.
Permission?
Oh my gosh.
You gotta be kidding. So I mean, we're running the same thing everywhere is affected on scene. Things are in rapid change.
Pay attention. We should.
So, very good. I like it.
Do we need to vote on that, or just can we direct the chair to finalize it and get it out?
Yeah, that's probably suffice enough, and I'll obviously send it to you all one final time. Before it goes to Svetlana, just to make sure there's nothing else, but I think the things that I'm hearing are. Measurable outcomes we can definitely add into, it doesn't sound like we want a signature event or anything like that included.
But it is it's an option for
Yeah.
them.
Be added, yeah.
Yeah. But not a requirement, and then, yeah, measurable outcomes, like I said, in the last contract, there's a couple tables, so online marketing campaign measurable outcomes, there's like impressions, clicks, engagement rates. Page views, social media, Google Analytics, reports, all that stuff, so I can add those in if that's good.
Those are exactly what they suggest to do, so
Awesome.
thank you. I think that was a well done section.
Okay, great, so I think if that's all good, then I think we just need a vote to direct the chair to finalize the scope of services for a municipal marketing contract as discussed.
The one year, yeah, one
Please
year.
do
Yeah,
that.
for the 1 year.
Yeah, so move.
Okay,
So moved.
is there a second? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you.
I did.
Okay.
You got it on the.
Yeah, we got, now that we're recording, don't
Yeah,
worry.
thank you for that.
Okay, awesome. So the next agenda item,
I'm sorry.
oh no, you're good, is look ahead at the end of the calendar year of 2025. So as you know, Karen's position has not been filled yet. We don't really know the status of that or if they're interviewing anybody. The assistant town administrator job is now also available. So I think, that's probably gonna take a little bit of priority in the hiring statuses. So my kind of idea was that we look ahead it's really like 6 more months of this calendar year, which is nuts so.
Crazy.
And just see where we wanted to line up our special event funding, so we know ahead of time how to get that out, and then also the physical improvements, which Danielle serves on our capital budget committee now. And it's been mentioned a couple times that perhaps physical improvements should line up with the capital budget process.
Mhm.
So they're more tied in and we're all kind of
Doing the
working-
same thing.
Doing the same, yeah.
That's a real good idea.
FinCom said that to us.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, FinCom said that. Yeah, so
And it's a good idea because this money here can be used to leverage their money. We can get projects that probably couldn't get done in 1 year, could get them done in 1.
yeah,
And on that note, just a recommendation that if the money that is used to pay Karen's salary is not going to be utilized, probably not by the end of this fiscal year, that should go into fiscal improvement, I would suggest.
yeah.
To
So
carry
that
forward.
that's I don't think that I think
Right, that comes from the general fund.
Yeah.
So it,
I thought we gave a.
no, we
piece of-
gave it to the economic development program manager, which has not been filled, and I think we've reallocated those
Yeah.
funds back
Okay,
to other
okay.
things. Yeah, but that's a good
We never
point,
had
Steve.
raised the Karen's salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Hi, Don.
let me just pull up my,
Is it, yeah?
so we are slated for the select board on June 24th for our update. And my intent was for the June meeting to kind of discuss the municipal branding proposal, because I think the first step is really gonna be coming up with a proposal to just bring to them and see what they have to say about it. Jay Grande, who is the interim sort of part-time Kyle, economic development person, sent over those, Route 28 mixed use development. And the RFP economic trends and the market analysis for Mattakese, and so he'd like to come in for that next meeting, in June to talk about that as well, so that agenda will pretty much just focus on like an update from Jay and then branding. But I believe, from what I gather, and maybe you know more, is that the capital process kind of starts in, they're due July.
Yeah, it's due midsummer and then we start, or like it starts being due and then I think it's like officially due in September, I think.
Okay.
For like real. And then because we
Mhm.
start looking in August is when our first meeting is.
Okay. So do you think, based on that timeline, maybe a good time for us to do physical improvements is issue, well, what do you think? Do you think issue them in August and review in September? Or wait a little bit, or what do you think is a good timeline for that?
I think if you're trying to get the same things as capital budget, people are just starting to look at it.
Okay, so maybe,
But if we push it any further so that they've actually put in their requests to capital budget, then we're in the middle of our
special events.
special events.
So maybe we try and do it this summer. Maybe we just send a note to the staff and
Mhm.
departments at the end of the fiscal year. As a reminder, while you're preparing your capital budget request, there's also the fiscal improvement
Yeah,
bucket
to, right, to consider
to
and,
consider, yeah.
Do we not need to really come up with a criteria though? So it's like people are applying, so what's, so I'm assuming there's
Right,
already a
well-
definition of what's capital budget, we've never really quite had a definition of what ours.
Steve does. Gotta be in a master plan.
It's gotta tie back to a plan, some plan. You just can't throw something out there. It's gotta tie in.
If you remember, Joe, it's why we rejected all the first one that we got.
And we can.
That's just my opinion. I just think it makes sense.
No, it does, and
I
I
agree.
think it's a fair point. I think that's a great point. That should tie into some plan. If there's any other criteria you want to develop, we can certainly discuss that. Maybe at the June meeting too, or if there's anything in particular you had in mind.
I just think this funding too, and granted, it hasn't. I don't know that we've had the best plan of how it's been used over the time, but we've spent quite a bit of it in the recent past here. Is that it's much more flexible, so like something comes up, somebody can come to us and due to us, I think one thing too is going through that whole like the capital budget thing, and now if we're gonna start converting capital budget to that funding gets all allocated, then it's not necessarily available for something 6 months or the year that came up that we could now fund. Especially if it's keeping it more tourism related or more off of that, so I guess.
I think if it's focused on community development and or economic development, it does what you wanted to do. I
Yeah,
don't
we
think
don't have
you,
to say we're open for all,
right,
every cent that we have. We can say up to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right, or do we wanna say like how much money we want, how, like $25,000 this type of thing, or do we wanna say somebody could come for 100 or?
so
What's our allocate, we spent almost
Yeah.
everything in it now, right? So it's whatever, what's it, 140 is the new allocation or something?
let me, I'm looking right now.
something.
And that's special ones.
That's special events, but somewhere in that, right, that 140 or 50 range or
How we did low this year.
lower, it's lower than that.
Pull up the budget here.
Thought we did. I thought we said, wow, we have so much.
Last year was 200,000. Let me see what the.
Oh, maybe we just lowered from that then.
Right, but I think we were pretty much with the last stuff with the memorial and everything, and I think we're pretty, I think pretty much everything's allocated, I think right now. So it's
Yeah.
only gonna be what we put in well, actually, no, it just got put in at town meeting, so whatever goes in July 1st, I guess.
Yeah, so we can clarify the numbers and I can
It's
get that
140.
back once I find the budget. It is like an application, and the last one we did,
I know we did do the form or something, I'm just kind of.
yeah, the question, yeah, I think the question's kind of, if we want to add more questions, it might help us develop our criteria, like it might be the one and the same, but the questions were, what plan does this project help carry out and in what way? What is the schedule? Who will oversee? Who will benefit? And how would this project improve the quality of life for Yarmouth residents and or promote Yarmouth's tourism economy?
I like it.
And
Okay.
yeah, so, yeah,
Is that pretty much along the same lines as what capital budget's asking, just a little bit different?
They are more tied to municipal needs. We get, I think ours is a little more expansive.
All right, so ours is one, okay, that's all.
In other words, we're not gonna buy a pickup truck for DPW.
right, yeah,
Whereas the town would do something like that, so.
Yeah, ours is more like, for like the capital budget, the way it works is they have this like computer program that all of the different departments can enter their like requests into, and it'll be things like, you know, the cars that they need for the different ones, or, you know, the leak that needs to be fixed, or
And I guess we're really not buying stuff per se. We're more fixing things or upgrading, like plantings or fixing things.
community
It's not like buying a truck, like,
Yeah.
so
Not
it's,
doing maintenance.
all right.
right.
and that's what most of that
Okay.
is. It's either cars or maintenance on buildings or on the golf courses or things like that.
All right, so I'm all for things that make things like look nice, you
Yeah,
know, whether it's like signage, although we need other wayfinding, those things that were, makes it look nice, that I know we need a plan, but.
it looks like we have.
It's actually a pretty good criteria, things that look nice.
We have about
You just want a
200,000
good
again.
professional, you know,
Say that number again, Paul?
We have about 200,000 again,
Okay.
yeah, so, okay.
Chunk of money.
So that's good. So then how about maybe at the June meeting as well, we'll just bring in, I'll work on with Don Marie on getting the application and the solicitation all set, and then we can just make sure that that looks good to you guys, and if there's anything else we want to add. And then we can let departments know, so it kind of lines up with the budget stuff. Okay, cool. So
Could I ask that we include the schools,
yes, yep,
which we did not?
yep. Um, Okay.
How
Awesome.
does it work with the schools for funding? Like if we fund.
They have their own
stuff-
capital stuff.
No, I know. I just mean like, for most of the schools are DY.
Yeah.
That like if we, is everything 50-50? Like if we do something, does Dennis also?
No.
Okay, I just wasn't sure
No,
how.
mostly just in terms of their like overall education budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
So it was more like 70-30 at the town meeting. I think.
right, based on enrollment.
Yeah, their operating budget.
Yep,
And to Joe's point, what we did for the schools was sort of like a new TikTok, like
yeah,
playground project ran over
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Had a
exactly.
community component to it, because that playground gets used a lot.
By everyone,
By
that's-
everyone.
Yeah.
and it's in Yarmouth, right, so it's in Yarmouth, so it's like. I think that throwing money from Yarmouth makes sense, you know,
Yeah.
Dennis might be contributing some way too, but it's right down the street from where anybody can use it after hours.
right,
Mhm.
right,
On a weekend, so.
right, and we heard a lot that it's used by so many people all the time, so definitely like a huge benefit. Okay, awesome, so special event funding timeline, we've usually done it in the fall-ish, September-ish, does that still sound good to people?
Yeah, I mean, when we did the criteria, something on last year, I think really CSAT is the only one that's kind of. I don't know what. I don't know what the
She's
best
adapted.
option is to
She's
try to do
adapted.
it, but.
She's adapted.
Right, so I would say other than that, but I'd say try to do it the same as we did last year, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, September timeline,
She's been around 44 years.
interviews in
So,
October,
she needs
She
to-
is so good at what she does.
Who's the sheet?
Dan Butler,
She
No
runs
relation.
Seaside.
She can do that in her sleep.
I know, that was, yeah. It's, yeah.
We,
Gives her an
the,
advantage, I feel like. too.
the
And I
special
think-
event timeline runs right at the same time that the actual event Seaside is done. So when she tries to get the numbers for it,
It's
it's
a little
always.
hard.
Yeah,
Reporting.
you can't really.
Okay, I mean, I think that sounds
Yes, what do we do? It was like due in September.
due in September, interviews October-ish, decision November, because they'll be went to the like one of the last select board meetings of the year to update them on our
Yeah.
awards. Okay. All good on those?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then it was discussion on potential municipal branding projects. I think the only thing there is, like I said, I think we've all gotten plenty of research and materials, and so I think, the next meeting will just be discussing why we think this is a good idea and developing a memo for the select board and kind of a little plan of action and seeing where they want to run with it and how they want to go with it. and hopefully maybe Lori can join us for that meeting, if possible, and anybody else, maybe we'll invite Molly back in too from this cultural center, she's pretty helpful. But yeah, I think there's some good research out there, some good information, and I think we'll be able to build at least, but yeah, the first step is, I don't wanna dive too deep and then have them say no, so the first step is just getting them to buy into it and see that it's a good, worthy idea.
So that's going to them on June 24th.
Yes, June 24th is when we're supposed to be in front of the select board. I will say, the June 10th meeting, I have a conflict that night, I'm going to Red Sox game. Sorry,
win.
so if we can work to maybe find another date in June before the 24th, I would appreciate that. But I
You
know.
can Zoom us.
Yeah. Assuming from the same house. Sure, Steve, yeah.
Right around the 7th. I wanna see you.
Well, what sucks is that our meeting's at 5, the game's not till 7, so I mean, like, I could zoom in from
Oh,
the. Dodging traffic. Yeah. We'll catch a fly ball or something, yeah, I don't even know where we're sitting, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, other dates in June, and we can, I mean, what else, what's the next?
You have the 3rd or the 17th?
Yeah,
Or the 3rd.
Either would work for me. Either one works for me.
Same.
okay, either one works for me too, so, we can
Check the
check,
rooms.
yeah, we'll check the rooms and we'll confirm, but that'll be good.
Okay,
June 3rd or 17th at 5. Okay, awesome. All right, are there any committee member updates? I'm trying to think, okay, so the biggest update is that the TDMD the hearing was pulled, so there's, I'm sure that'll come back at some point. I don't think I have any other like community or
So is it being paused? Is that what's going on, or?
the Cape Cod Chamber has to, kind of relook at some of the petitions and the filings and,
Okay.
and get some of that stuff straightened out, and then I think they'll bring it back. But I don't have any other updates that I can think of. Anybody else have any updates or projects or anything?
I have been tracking the Seasonal Communities Council.
Yep,
Yarmouth is currently not designated as a seasonal community.
yep,
They're right in the middle of developing their regulations as
Yep.
far as defining what it means to be a seasonal community. I don't know where the administration is on pursuing that designation. I think,
our administration.
correct. I think June 24th might be an opportunity to ask that question.
So, yeah, so I will, yeah, it's definitely, I can definitely ask that question at the 24th. It's like you said, they're in the middle of developing a lot of regulations, so many of the Outer Cape towns did vote to adopt it, but Brewster, the town I work for, and the town manager who's on the council, has decided that it's best to wait until everything is sort of defined. Which I get, and I think that, the intent was to kind of designate some communities and get them in the door and see how the program rolls out. But I'm more than happy to ask the select board on the 24th if they see any interest in it.
And at the last meeting that was held in P-Town, P-Town presented a lot of things that they're doing already prior to this
Yeah,
designation. One of the things that stuck out to me was that they have a very vibrant housing trust.
yes,
And it seemed to be a really good vehicle for them for the municipality to be actively involved in that type of public-private partnership. Development of housing. They also have a geographically constrained community, so they were
Yeah.
looking at smaller, the ADUs and small tiny homes and brings around. Pre-existing or pre-agreed upon. Signs. For those types of
yeah,
housing developments. Obviously, they have smaller spaces, but it's certainly applicable to Yarmouth as well. Anyway, something to keep apprised of, because all of the heavy housing people are in that room.
mhm,
We all know that housing's coming Yarmouth's way, so.
mhm, mhm. Yeah. I think the only other community member update I think I would give is the muck process, as you all know. All of us except Steve had the pleasure of taking part in that, but it's wrapping, Alexis sent us over the economic development proposal and findings to be sent to Bill. I shared that, we didn't really, I didn't hear back from a lot of people really. Peter sent me an email basically saying that what's done is done and there's no going back now, which was fine, and I didn't forward that to Alexis, but, yeah, so I guess we'll just keep, I'll keep apprised of that in terms of the Matthews Utilization Committee itself meeting and where that's all going and any further questions or outreach they want from us. But we've done our part and we've put our thoughts out there and it's all there. And, I thank you all again for participating and being a part of that process. I think we really tried to think of the community and moving forward, and I thought it was a good effort, so.
Does anyone know what the timeline is, Dawn, Courtney, on the ATA?
No, I mean, I think they're accepting applications now. I don't know that they have a,
I believe a couple have come in.
yeah, I think a couple have come in. I don't
But-
know. It says, applications received prior to June 9th will receive preference, so we've got a couple weeks, I bet, until they start interviewing. But I've heard, I mean, personally, I've heard in my world, there's a lot of people interested in it, so
Good,
we'll
that
see.
makes me optimistic.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for everybody. I've heard from people who've applied for Karen's job, so I think that there's hopefully a good applicant pool. It's just getting through all of those.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know this Town Ways to Water project. You can take this with you if you want.
Thank you.
There's some public meetings to be held and you can scan for more information about whatever that is. CPC gave them some money. What happened is Bill Benetti came and applied to have the stairway at Driftwood Lane improved because people couldn't get their kayaks down there and everything else. And it kind of morphed into this townwide waste to water project. So there is right now an assessment going on to identify all the locations over 60, I think 62 public town waste to water.
Fiscal improvement. Perfect. Community.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go, Steve.
So identified and then they're gonna be kind of characterized as to what amenities are available, how many parking spaces,
Yeah.
most of which there's like parking for 1 or 2 or 0
Yeah.
cars. That's gonna be the big problem. Is if people learn about all these public ways, they're gonna wanna park there, but it's a dead end street, you know? So that's a issue they're gonna have to figure out, but it's gonna be a nice assessment of all the different properties and then prioritize the first 3 most important to improve. And then in a year or 2, the next 3, and then the next 3, and the next 3. And so it'll be an interesting meeting and May 29th at 4 o'clock or June 10th at 6 o'clock in the hearing room.
Awesome.
Oh,
Thank
that
you.
reminds me, I've re-engaged with the engineer on Packet Landing, but I have to say that there's a lot of stuff moving
Okay.
right around Packet,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's a
if
tough
we
spot,
engage
right?
DPW first,
okay.
because there's a lot of stuff happening.
DPW, the state,
On,
Yeah.
DNR.
No idea what the problems are yet, but. there's
Just wait an
definitely
hour
problems.
and it's all done, you're ready to go.
Yeah, probably more like that.
Okay. Mary, while you're still here, do you mind providing a quick update on the plastic reduction task force? Either of you been able to go?
Sure. So I'm sorry, I'm not even gonna remember the first date that we met, but 12 out of the 14 members attended at the YPD. The meeting is posted on the town's website. The next meeting will be on June 4th. And we will be going before the select board on June 3rd to have a discussion exactly about what they want us to accomplish. What is our role? That was difficult to define. Some of us had one impression and some members had a different impression. So we'll get that clarification at the select board meeting on June 3rd.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
you.
Yeah, I'll be at that select board meeting on June 3rd because we'll be there for the Parkers River vote,
Yeah, that supplemental
the
funding.
supplemental funding. We voted in April. Okay, cool. Yep, that sounds good. Any other committee member updates? No? Meeting minutes. We have a couple minutes to approve for Don Marie. February 18th and April 8th of 2025.
Motion to approve?
You weren't even here.
Oh, Mary, did you have a question?
I was here for the prior meetings, February 18th, I was there.
Were you?
Go ahead, Mary.
Yes,
Okay.
if you don't mind, I have two corrections.
Oh, to the minutes?
Yes, for April 8th. So our marketing director's name is spelt incorrectly. It's Amy Medeiros, Medeiros.
Sorry, Amy.
And then also under the section for the marketing contract extension, it states that we, the Chamber of Commerce, requested an extension, but that is not the case. On March 6th of 2025, I received an email from Karen Green asking if the chamber was willing and able to provide additional services until August 31st of 2025, and if we would submit a proposal to the town.
Okay, thank you for those corrections. Appreciate it. So I guess, is there a motion to approve with those amendments?
As amended, please, I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you. Other items not reasonably be anticipated. I think we kind of touched on everything that I had on my little list in my brain. So yeah, so upcoming meetings are June 3rd or 17th. We'll figure that out and I'll let you all know. And then June 24th, I'll go to the select board to present. And then in July, we'll meet on July 8th to kind of see what happens after the select board meeting, where we want to go and all of that. But yeah, and hopefully maybe by then we'll have some updates on hiring and positions being filled and all that. So is there anything else for the good of the group? This is like incredibly efficient. I'm like, what are we forgetting? And what did we, what else do we have?
It all speaks to the chair. Thank you for.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, happy to keep it going.
Keep it moving.
So I will, so do you want me to share you're done after?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so Steve has informed me that he will not be joining us after the June meeting. His terming out, he's gonna go enjoy his grandkids and his life and golf and everything he should be doing. So I'm gonna reach out with Dawn Marie to the select board's office, because I do believe we have some applications on file to see how turned around we can get somebody maybe interviewed and appointed after Steve has
Just
completed
two
his
other things,
service.
related to that. One is, by being on this committee, I'm also on the design review committee.
Thank you.
So you're going to need to.
Reappoint
find a
somebody, okay.
replacement for that.
Design.
And the second one is, I just want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to work with you. It's been a good time. I think we've done a lot. And I look forward to seeing you guys doing even more. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna miss you. It's been great. Thank you so much for all your help and everything and your leadership before I got here and your help with transition. So,
You're welcome.
yeah. But you deserve to go hang out with that grandbaby and golf all you want.
Yeah. He's five and he's starting to play some golf.
Oh,
He's starting to play some, what do you call it?
Pickleball?
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
oh, that's awesome.
One thing, yeah.
Oh,
So
good.
I'll look for kids' sticks, come into the thrift shop and see that you get some.
Alright.
I found some for the woman who's a historical commission
Oh, yep,
chair.
yep.
She has two 10-year-olds or a 10-year-old, 9-year-old. What did I find but lacrosse sticks?
Oh,
and helmets.
awesome. Perfect.
Nice.
All right.
You're
So
fun.
I looked for some
I love it.
materials.
It's great.
Give you a list of what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So on a post-it.
Concierge shopping.
Well, if there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
5:40 PM, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you all. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate it.
Steve, we're gonna miss you.